Hello, my name is Ray Salazar, and this is Morning Real. And I'm not even supposed to be here today. Clerks 2. Yes, I am reviewing Clerks 2. If you haven't heard my review for Clerks, please listen to that one. It's the episode right before this one. And after this particular review, I'm reviewing Clerks 3. So, anyways, this is Morning Real, a 3 to 4 or 100-minute or so podcast, films that I review. And my cat wants to go outside and play, but it's fucking windy. All he wants to do is bite lizards and bring it home and think it's a prize for me to have. Clerks 2, written and directed by Kevin Smith, based on the characters by Kevin Smith, produced by Scott Mosier, starring Jeff Anderson, Brian O'Halloran, Rosario Dawson, Trevor Fairman, Jennifer Schwalbach, Jason Mewes. Dun dun dun. And you get some cameos from, Ben Affleck. You also get a cameo from, I love this dude because of his photography and his skateboarding, and also because he stars in a lot of Kevin Smith works. We got Jason Lee. Yep. This film was edited by Kevin Smith. The cinematography was done by Dave Klein, sorry. Music by James L. Venable. Production companies, the View Askew Productions, and guess what? The Weinstein Company. Dun dun dun. Who would have thought that Weinstein would get locked up? You know what I'm saying? I mean, eventually he would have gone locked up, but oh, my little kitty. This film came out in 2006, made $26.9 million in the box office with a budget of $5 million. This is a sequel to Clerks, and I love it. I actually love it more than Clerks. And I think the consensus between all three films, I mean, a lot of people will say Clerks, OG. Some people will say Clerks 2. I feel that Clerks 2 is the strongest film of the trilogy. And just off the bat, I'm just going to give it 3.5 out of 4 tokes. The reason being, and I'm going to make this review very quick because my cat doesn't like me right now. The reason why I love this film and why I think it's stronger than the other two films, well, for sure stronger than the first film, is the depthness that Kevin Smith actually put onto the script. We go a bit more deeper with the characters of Dante and Randall. And not only that, we also get Rosario Dawson's character, Becky or Becca, whatever they want to name her. We also have a new addition to the cast, Elias. All these characters go very well with each other. There's a good chemistry. Kevin Smith did a great job establishing that chemistry. Sorry. And the actors themselves, they know how to be raunchy. They know how to be disgusted. They know how to be vulnerable. And that's what's powerful about any kind of film is the vulnerability that a character puts out, especially if it's a villain character. Because there are some villain characters that they're very emotional. They very much, some of them care based on their motivations as a character, period. But anyways, keep it short and simple and sweet. Characters make it. The characters put the foundation and they bring it home. They did a great job. Kevin Smith did a great job. The reason why I give it 3.5 out of 4 instead of 4, it's raunchy. I like the raunchiness. Sometimes the raunchiness does take away from what's important in the film. Sometimes it does take away from important conversations, or maybe some of the raunchiness doesn't work because it really is just talk and there's no, connection to things. The film does that a lot. In fact, the film has more to show to the audience than the first Clerks film did, and I do like that a lot. Anyways, this film is effective. I love that Kevin Smith had fun with this film. You can tell. Jesus, cinematography is great. I love how fluid the camera is. You can tell that it's not your typical low budget film anymore. This is the big leagues, especially, if the Weinstein Company is helping you produce the film, right? Either way, the story goes the quick stop burns down because somebody forgot to turn off the coffee machine, I guess. And who would have thought that the whole place would burn down just like that? Dante, Randall, they work at movies. You can hate a job all you want, but what gets you by are the people that you work amongst. Some of those people make your life. And this film follows the same theme and subtext, which is basically life. You know, do you have a shitty life? Are you doing the best out of your life? Do you think that you're stuck in certain things in your life? Are you afraid to just, you know, to just quote unquote shit or get off the pot? Mostly all the characters chime in about that topic of discussion with it, which is what am I doing with my life? And am I doing good? Am I doing bad? Am I living in a hollow existence of some sort? And these guys are older, obviously. I like that theme because I am in my 30s, early 30s. And when you watch films like this, it makes you think about life, right? It makes you think about what you have and what's missing. And you start to question whether, if you're really making the best out of it or you're just cruising by. There's a scene in particular that I love. They go karting and it's just music and you're just watching them have fun, go around in this track, which appears to be, you know, over an hour. On the ride back, Dante and Randall talk about life and they talk about how it's those little simple things that make me feel centered. And sometimes I wish I can go back to that place in time, but we all know that we can't. And Randall knows that for a fact. And and it's funny. He knows that. He's accepted it, but at the same time, he's like he's like scared inside. He's like he's kind of freaking out in a sense. And I mean, much like Dante freaks about every other thing as it goes by, right? And he just can't wait to start life. But like I've told this to somebody important in my life before, life is here, baby. Life is here, and you gotta fucking be on the line, man. I'm not saying you gotta be a drone. I'm not saying you gotta follow orders or whatnot. I mean, we're always gonna follow some people's orders or something along the line that has order. This film does a really good job at basically telling us that you're not the only ones who are feeling like they're stuck in life, but you can get out of it. You can move forward. You can meet people that can change your perspective. And when those people change your perspective, obviously you change yourself. I love the scene where they play Michael Jackson, or rather, the Jackson 5. And it becomes one big old Broadway musical scene. And it's great because you would have never expected it, especially in the Kevin Smith film. But here he is putting it. And it also acts like a sort of like a push to the story because the whole film takes place at movies. It takes place mostly throughout one day where Dante's pretty much not sure if he wants to go to Florida and get married to somebody who doesn't quote unquote get him, while there's people out here in his life who get him 100%. And guess what? They love him, whether they hate the little things that he does. And that goes with every other character in the film too. You love to hate them or you hate to love them type of thing. It's not the perfect film, obviously. I mean, it went to Cannes, or Cannes, as some people would say. Got a standing ovation. It got an audience award. Whenever you hear the word sequel, or rather when I hear the word sequel, automatically, depending on what kind of franchise or previous film, most likely I'm going to fucking hate it. I'm going to hate it. I'm not going to be open about it because I feel like there shouldn't be any type of sequel, period, unless it's mentioned sometime in the first film, whether it be in the beginning of the third act or at the last moment of the film before the credits roll. And I'm gonna end it on this. Honestly, my favorite scene is probably everybody's favorite scene, besides the donkey show scene, which is comedy at its finest, especially in 2006. Man, I want to applaud Kevin Smith for writing this script because there are certain things that he wrote in this film that could never, ever, ever be performed or said in today's times. And there are some things that I'm like, oh, I don't know if you should say that. Or I'm like, he got some balls writing it, but man, overall, you got balls, kid. You got it. And I'm ending on this. My favorite scene, the prison scene, obviously, which is the beginning of I feel it's the beginning of the third act, or rather when Becky decides that, you know what, fuck it, I'm gonna get with this guy. We get each other, and that's that. I feel like that's the end of the second act, going into the third. Anyways, good third act, prison scene. Randall just confesses his friendship to this man Dante, because Randall, he's very not about emotions, not about corny shit, but this guy's inseparable from Dante, which I mentioned in the Clerks review. These guys are inseparable. And it was very touching to see Randall pretty much tell Dante, I love you, in a very heterosexual way. But it's like, you get it. I get the scene. I mean, it's very, in a way, selfish of Randall to say that, because you can't just stop somebody from moving on with their lives, right? I figured it was the right time to say it because there was no way Dante was ever going to fucking move to Florida, especially knowing that, you know, he got his boss pregnant. And not only did he get her pregnant, but he fucking loves the chick, man. Like, how can you leave, right? And he said it himself. If there was anybody who would keep him in Jersey, would be her. And they pretty much made sure of that. My name is Ray Salazar. Next review is Clerks 3. So if you love this film and want to know how I feel about Clerks 3, listen to it. Follow me on Morning Shot Films, IG and YouTube. Follow this podcast, The Morning Reel. You know where you can get it. Apple, Google Play, iHeartRadio, YouTube, Spreaker, you name it, it's there. Just type in my name too, and it'll be there. On to the next one.